So, imagine opening your investment app one evening, and it's just gone. No warning, no explanation. 7 million users, locked out simultaneously, and somewhere in Hanoi, a man who called himself a fintech visionary is already in handcuffs. That's Southeast Asia in 2026, where the money moves fast, the scams move faster, and the waterways have pirates again. Welcome to Sea Daily Buzz. Coming up, Vietnam's biggest crypto fraud. 8 years, billions stolen, one evening to collapse. The Chinese woman who hid $5.5 billion in Bitcoin in a Scottish Airbnb. The $16 billion Telegram washing machine. And actual pirates stealing engine parts in the Malacca Strait. Vietnam is one of the most crypto-obsessed countries on Earth. 17 million people, roughly 1 in 6 Vietnamese, own digital assets. Chainalysis ranked Vietnam 4th globally for crypto adoption in 2025, out of 151 countries. So when a Vietnamese fintech app offered token trading, staking, derivatives, a whole crypto ecosystem in your pocket, millions signed up. Over 7 million. The platform was called ONUS. The man behind it, Eric Vuong, officially known as Vuong Le Vinh Nhan. Born in Can Tho in 1984, blockchain thought leader, vice president of the Vietnam Digital Asset Alliance, chairman of a publicly listed company. He had LinkedIn, press coverage, board roles. He looked legitimate. The scheme allegedly started in 2018. 3 tokens sat at the center: VNDC, ONUS, and HNG. The alleged mechanics: control the token supply secretly, run fake trading volumes to fabricate demand, collect real money from real people chasing real returns. It worked for years because the platform looked real. It had a European license, a deal to list on NASDAQ. That kind of headline doesn't make people suspicious, it makes them invest more. Then on March 20th, 2026 at 6 in the evening, ONUS went dark. Instantly, users logged out, withdrawals frozen, one-time passwords stopped, support went silent. Hanagold, a sister gold platform, froze at the same moment. Its website said, "System upgrade." It was an exit scam. Analysts found that roughly 80% of user funds had already been moved out, gone before the lights even went off. Police raids across 5 cities, more than 140 people summoned, 7 arrested, including Eric Vuong, charged with appropriating property through electronic networks and money laundering. One anonymous investor told Channel News Asia they were devastated after losing over $15,000. HVA Group's stock dropped 12% overnight. Here's the dark irony. Vietnam only formally legalized crypto in January 2026, just 3 months before the collapse. The regulation arrived just as the country's biggest domestic exchange turned out to be a multi-billion-dollar fraud, 8 years in the making. Her investors knew her only as Hua Hua, Little Flower. She communicated through poems on a blog. Jimin Qian had built a Ponzi scheme that would make Bernie Madoff look small. Between 2014 and 2017, her company, Tianjin Lantian Jirui, allegedly defrauded over 128,000 people across every province in China. Victims were mostly pensioners in their 50s to 70s. She promised returns of 100 to 300%. She reportedly claimed endorsement by the son-in-law of Chairman Mao. She wrote poems about cherishing the elderly while stealing their life savings. Total deposits: 40 billion yuan, roughly 5.6 billion US dollars. When Chinese police came looking in 2017, Qian converted approximately 20 million pounds of proceeds into Bitcoin via the Huobi exchange and fled. She arrived in the UK in September 2017 on a fake passport from St. Kitts and Nevis. She rented a 6-bedroom mansion near Hampstead Heath for £17,000 a month and told estate agents she was heir to a diamond fortune. Her assistant Jian Wen, previously a takeaway worker above a Chinese restaurant in Leeds, was sent to find properties worth 4 million, 12 million, 23 million pounds. Every attempt failed at the Know Your Customer stage. That failure triggered a police tip-off. In October 2018, the Metropolitan Police raided Hampstead and found laptops loaded with 61,000 Bitcoin, the world's largest confirmed cryptocurrency seizure in law enforcement history. But Qian gave a false name. Police seized the Bitcoin, and Qian ran for 6 more years, hiding across Europe, at one point posing as an elderly man's unwell mother in a Scottish Airbnb near Loch Tay. Police trailed her Malaysian associate, Seng Hock Ling, for 6 weeks until it led them to York. April 2024, both arrested. Jian Wen, 6 years and 8 months. Seng Hock Ling, nearly 5 years. Jimin Qian, 11 years and 8 months. The 61,000 Bitcoin? Worth approximately £5.5 billion by conviction, a 20-fold increase since 2017. Her diary revealed her real ambition: to become Queen of Liberland, a tiny, unrecognized microstate on the Danube. She got a British prison cell instead. Open Telegram. Search for a Chinese language channel. Find one with photos of bundled cash, customer reviews, and a service menu with prices. You've just found a money laundering storefront. These are called guarantee platforms. And according to Chainalysis' 2026 Crypto Crime Report, Chinese language money laundering networks processed $16.1 billion in illicit funds in 2025 alone. That's $44 million per day, every day. These networks now represent roughly 20% of the entire global illicit crypto landscape, growing 7,325 times faster than inflows to legitimate exchanges since 2020. The major names: Huione Guarantee out of Cambodia. At least $4 billion processed before U.S. Treasury designated it a money laundering concern. Shinbi Guarantee, nearly $20 billion in total volume, sanctioned by the UK in March 2026. Todo Guarantee, $12 billion, began shutting down after its associated kingpin was arrested. Chainalysis mapped 6 service types. Running point brokers rent out real people's bank accounts as entry points for dirty money. Money mule motorcades layer funds through wallet networks. Informal OTC desks bypass China's capital controls entirely, no identity checks required. Black U services handle the most tainted crypto, hack proceeds, stolen funds, and can clear large transactions in under 2 minutes. Gambling platforms launder through volume, and money movement services mix and convert everything at the final stage. They prefer stablecoins over Bitcoin, because if you're already losing money on crime, the last thing you need is Bitcoin having a bad week. Here's the connection that should alarm everyone. North Korea's Lazarus Group uses these exact same Chinese language networks at rates 355% to over 1,000% higher than other criminal actors. North Korea stole $2 billion in crypto in 2025, including $1.5 billion from the exchange Bybit in February 2025. The single largest crypto hack in history. Romance scam proceeds, state-sponsored heist loot, Vietnamese families' savings, all flowing through the same Telegram channels. When authorities shut one platform down, vendors move to the next one within days. This is the nature of illicit actors. They adapt. After 3 stories about invisible digital crime, let's talk about something refreshingly analog. Pirates. Actual pirates. In small wooden boats, at 3 in the morning, stealing engine parts off cargo ships. According to RECAP, the Regional Cooperation Agreement on Combating Piracy, the Strait of Malacca and Singapore recorded 108 incidents of piracy and armed robbery in 2025, a 74% jump over 2024, the highest number in 19 years. Before you picture skull and crossbones, let me describe what's actually happening. 2 to 4 guys, a small unlit sampan, blending into the 1,000 vessels transiting the strait daily. They wait for darkness. They target bulk carriers, slow-moving ships sitting low in the water. They use long poles and ropes to climb the stern, grab whatever they can carry, engine spare parts, scrap metal, and flee. In roughly half of all incidents last year, they left with nothing. Spotted, horn sounded, they fled empty-handed. 53% of incidents involved perpetrators who weren't even armed. 0 crew abductions. 0 Category 1, most severe, incidents in the whole strait for all of 2025. RECAP's director said it plainly. These numbers don't represent a high threat to maritime trade. This is petty theft. These are not Somali pirates. So who are they? Most experts point to Indonesia's Riau Islands, Batam and Bintan, south of Singapore. Post-pandemic, tourism collapsed. Fish stocks in the South China Sea have declined sharply. Fishing communities lost income with no alternatives. And some of them started raiding cargo ships for parts worth a few $100s, months of living expenses in rural Indonesia. Enforcement is genuinely maddening. 4 countries share jurisdiction. The moment a suspect crosses from Singaporean into Indonesian waters, Singaporean authorities must legally stop pursuing. Without hot pursuit agreements, the pirates know exactly where the border is. Indonesian police arrests in July and August 2025, using ship CCTV footage, caused incidents to drop sharply for the rest of the year. Enforcement works, but the root cause hasn't been addressed. One last note, The same Riau Islands were once home to the Orang Laut, sea nomads who served as the naval arm of the Sultanate of Malacca for centuries. Same geography, same waters, different scale, from empire to engine parts. So, the full picture. A Vietnamese founder allegedly ran a fake crypto ecosystem for 8 years, exploiting his own country's enthusiasm for digital assets. A Chinese fraudster converted billions in stolen savings to Bitcoin and hid in a Scottish Airbnb while her assistant shopped for £20 million mansions. $16 billion a year flows through Telegram storefronts, cleaning money for scam compounds, state hackers, and organized crime on 3 continents. And in the Malacca Strait, desperate fishermen board cargo ships with rope ladders. From fake apps to fake identities to invisible billions to actual rope ladders. Southeast Asia is where the world's financial shadows converge. We drop new episodes every week. If this one hit, subscribe and don't miss what's coming next.